Good morning, friends of the channel.
Good morning.
Today we're going to paint all this stuff. We'll paint the marble, the drawers, the chests, the chairs, the shutters.
Not today. Today, it's an instructional video.
So this is a video that's useful because maybe you haven't noticed yet, but over these past 10 years, all the magic paint products have changed a bit. If not completely changed, they've been improved. Why? Some colours have been worked on over the years to make them more opaque so that you use less and get better coverage more easily. Sometimes I realised that the formula, although very adhesive, didn't spread very well, so we've modified some of the paint formulas to make them, let's say, smoother to apply. The protective coatings have changed, the waxes have improved. The first Jasmine wax and the first Legendaria wax weren't as durable as the waxes we have today. The Jasmine Oil has also been changed. First of all, because we've had to go back and forth, especially with the European regulations, which unfortunately change very often and have put some of the excipients from our old oils, let's say, into a category that wasn't as natural as I expected it to be. And even though there is nothing harmful in either the old oils or the ones currently on sale, we always want to give you the best, so we are always looking for cutting-edge raw materials to provide you with an improved product, but above all, one that is as natural as possible for the intended use. This is why we have entirely reformulated the Jasmine oil by eliminating all of the silicone content it previously had and making it significantly more moisturising, more protective, more water repellent, and with an incredible drying agent that ensures it becomes even stiffer when used. But it does change slightly in terms of how it is used. Those who knew the first Jasmine oil will have noticed that it was much more liquid, fruitier, more fragrant. It was really an oil that you would take, apply, and it would revitalise everything. An incredible product, but I really wanted to improve it. Why? Because even though it was an incredible product and gave great hydration to the wood, it didn't last long. I wanted this lasting effect on the surfaces you see in front of you, which are completely different, to be prolonged and increasingly resistant. This is why we completely changed its formula and improved it, always keeping a jasmine fragrance, even though that too has changed. It changed because we wanted to use an Italian essence, so here too we wanted to add our own touch. Shall we say anything else?
I'd say we can show it on the various materials.
Let's start by showing, on the various materials, how to prepare the surface before applying the jasmine oil, and especially how to actually apply this jasmine oil, because, spoiler alert, using Knorr doesn't make it better. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Good, concentrated products should be applied in small amounts with the right dosage. Let's get started. Set up here so you can see clearly, but position yourselves as you like, inside or out. This is a step where you needn't worry about heat or air. A bucket, hot water if you can, but if it's too hot, just use cold water. A sponge that's not too new, otherwise it'll scratch too much. Even better if you have a microfiber cloth. And I add a good, generous glass of ammonia. As we've been saying for years, remember, before applying a moisturiser, nourishment or any kind of protective product to a surface that hasn't been dyed, you don't do a bab, but you do wash it thoroughly with water and ammonia. Why do I tell you to use ammonia? Because in my opinion, it's a cleaner that works really well, really deep down, but above all, it's very cheap. If you want to use a neutral cleaning soap, go ahead, but you need to rinse it off very thoroughly and make sure it doesn't contain any silicones. Wash it thoroughly everywhere, all right? If you have a glossy surface, it goes without saying, you mustn't scrub. So, if you have a glossy surface, use the other side of the sponge and go gently. I've got this small, handy little brush that I am going to use for the corners and edges. Just for the corners, nothing else is needed. And then, with microfiber cloths, I go where the bigger sponge can't reach, like this. Here, I'm lucky enough to have the shutter taken down. If you can't take them down, obviously, you do it while they're still up, all right. You can use a water pump or a pressure washer to help you. The important thing is that before applying the oil, you clean the surface thoroughly. Otherwise, if there's dirt underneath, the oil won't stick. Bucket, hot water, a clean microfiber cloth, Clean water, as you can see, and you rinse the whole shutter thoroughly, several times if necessary, all right? Now, we should carry on cleaning all the surfaces where today we want to show you how to use the miraculous jasmine oil, but you need to use your head. It's not as if just because Elisa says you need to wash everything thoroughly with water and ammonia, I just go there and give it a quick wash on. Here, you'll probably need to do a treatment beforehand as well, because there are even pigeon droppings. This is the drawer from a piece of furniture that was well looked after in the house. In fact, as you can see, it's perfect. If you think there might be dust or that it's better to wash it anyway because over the years you may have applied special oils or particular waxes that could have made it greasy, or worse still, you might put silicones on the surface, that's absolutely fine. Give it a wipe with water and ammonia and then rinse it off. But be careful, it mustn't be raw wood that absorbs, otherwise it'll soak up too much water and ammonia and that's no good. But here, whether you like it or not, you really do need to clean it because you can't bring something like this into your home as it is. It's a wonderful champagne crate, but do you realise? So yes, the advice from restorers is that old wood shouldn't get wet, but you also need to think and understand when you can and when you can't. So here, spatula. I scrape off the worst bits and then I get started. Here, on the other hand, it's clean. In fact, it's a piece of furniture that really was taken out of a house and put here, so I'm not doing anything to it. Let's see how to clean this surface now. A sponge that's not too new because I want it to scrub but not too much and very well wrung out because obviously even if we're doing a restyling we know our way around wood, so you restorers who are listening, there's no need to roll your eyes. This is necessary, it's essential. We gently clean the surface like this and you can already tell what kind of wood it is. Beautiful! Here there are even the old leather fastenings with the old nails, which we absolutely don't want to damage, but that's how it used to be done. A thoroughly wrung out sponge, always with water, and ammonia, which still purifies the surface. Now, before applying the oil, it might be necessary to treat this wood, for example with a woodworm treatment. We'll assess if it's needed. If it's necessary, we'll do it, if we find any holes. Otherwise, we'll just let it dry thoroughly before moving on to the next step. Here, I can see there's some dirt. And I'm removing it. Look at that, what a sight. Sponge to rinse. Since I'm here on this side, I'll go ahead and rinse with the sponge in clean water. What we're seeing now is very similar to the result we'll get later with the oil. Very, very similar. With this chair, the situation's entirely up to you. Let's say your choice, because it's a chair that's already had a coat of wax in the past, Legendaria or Jasmine, I can't quite remember, and it's a chair that's in very, very good condition. But it's been in a damp environment, and as you can see, in some spots it has these little marks from the humidity. Before applying the jasmine oil, I absolutely want to clean it for two reasons. Firstly, because if over the years the wax has really blocked the pores, it might be that the oil will have more trouble adhering and fully drying. Secondly, I don't know if a lot of it was applied. If only a little wax was used, and the result is a very nice, thin, fine and dried layer, perfect, that's fine, you can just dust it off and apply the oil. But if the wax was applied very thickly, it could cause problems. So again, exactly as we did previously, using a bit of ammonia and a microfiber cloth, I carefully and gently wipe down the whole surface and rinse it thoroughly before applying the oil. This way, you'll have a nice, purified and clean surface, and the oil will do its job for a long time to come. I apply it everywhere, mind you, even on the Vienna straw, which is amazing because it's in excellent condition and I can't wait to nourish and preserve it for all these years. Let's see now what happens with this old marble. I don't know what to expect because underneath it's really in a dreadful dirty state, so it's not certain I'll be able to save it today. Maybe it needs a good stonemason. But I'll start cleaning it to see what I'm dealing with. First step, using water and ammonia. You can see that bit by bit we're starting to dissolve the dirt, but underneath there are more layers of grime. So we'll figure out what to do step by step. This was its original colour, so it must have been a beautiful marble. Look at this. Take a look over here as well, how the original colour of the marble is gradually revealing itself. Just imagine. Since we've got a whole video just about jasmine oil done so well, let's get a few things off our chest and explain when it's actually worth using jasmine oil on marble or other surfaces. Let's say they need a bit of oily hydration as well. This one, you see, is a marble very similar to this. This is our marble, freshly cleaned, and let's just say we've already managed to work a bit of a miracle because we've removed all sorts of things. There's a wonderful little product for removing rust from marble, and we'll probably use it. There are loads of ways to polish this marble, including going to a marble specialist who can polish it for you, buff it with a polisher, and really get it looking perfect. We might also want to preserve it as it is, so for certain types of restyling, we actually like the marble to show its signs of aging. So I might not even remove the rust and these marks, and I could just seal it with a protective coating, whether matte or satin, it's up to me. It's my choice. Or even better, with wax, because marble doesn't always have to look beautiful, perfect, shiny or new. Marble is an ancient material. It can also look lived in and be used just as it is. It's nice and clean, still pleasant, still smooth, it's not rough, and as you can see, it doesn't stain. So if you like it, you can use it just like this. It's entirely up to you. This is a marble that is also very old, but it's unique, absolutely beautiful, with even this little groove and all the stunning craftsmanship. On this one, it makes sense to use jasmine oil. And why is that? Because it's already shiny, it has a finish, so we won't end up staining it. If we put jasmine oil on a light surface like this one, so white, and especially if it's a bit porous, because you can feel that, it's smooth, but you can tell it's not completely closed, sealed, it hasn't been treated, you risk staining it, all right? So, where can I use this blessed jasmine oil on marble without ending up with stained marble? On all marbles that have a finish. You can use it on the kitchen worktop, on the sink, on windowsills, on all sinks, basins, marble in bathroom sinks. You can use it there. You just need to remember two things. First, oil is oil. It's not a paint. So if you rinse it, degrease it with a detergent, you'll remove it. Second, you need to apply it properly, as we're about to show you now, in a very thin, velvety layer. Let it dry perfectly, even massaging it in beforehand, and then it will be resistant. So you can't use the kitchen worktop or the sink unless you've let it dry completely, 100%. I'm telling you this because it's one of the most frequently asked questions in our Magic Paint group. So now, Emma, a bit of oil into our little cup. Just a little. You need to remember that the less you use, the better, because you won't waste any. You see, now for the first coat, I'm being a bit more generous, but do you know how much I make this first step last? A lot, because I don't take more. I really spread it out very, very well, everywhere. We have a habit of using too much product, but here it's actually counterproductive, because if you use too much and leave it there, what happens? What happens is that it doesn't dry. It doesn't dry properly at all. Look how much I've taken, and look how much I'm still spreading. Just think about that. So get it into your head that using too much oil is only a problem, both for you and for the surface. Now that I've spread it, I take an old rag. It's clean because I wash it in the washing machine, but it's an old cotton rag, and I go over it anyway, massaging it in. This step isn't always strictly necessary. Why am I doing it here? Because this is a material that hardly absorbs anything at all. Since it doesn't absorb anything, we risk leaving too much on the surface, which won't dry properly. Instead, in this case, we'll allow it to dry. Now, the drying agent inside our jasmine oil will do the rest of the work. That is, it will make the surface beautiful, incredibly smooth, velvety, and it will dry. Once dry, it stays on, protects, hydrates, and really enhances the surfaces, even protecting them from wear, which can also come from humidity, so things like mould and damp. Let's move on to another material. This is the first wooden material, let's say, that we'll be treating today with jasmine oil. As you can see, this one is already shiny. Then there will be the chair that was waxed and is very smooth, and after that, our crate, which is completely raw. So let's distinguish between these materials. You often say to me, yes, I see a lovely piece of wood. Guys, first of all, this isn't wood. This is wood, yes. The sides are wood, the front panel contains a percentage of wood, and then there's a front section. This front section probably has a veneered covering on top, so this isn't 100% solid wood. Sometimes it was carved, sometimes not. Certainly, the finish on top is either a very resistant paint or a polyurethane finish. Why should we use jasmine oil? This oil is perfect for these surfaces to remove scratches, polish them and keep them looking beautiful. Here, using the Restaurator is wasteful because it works best when absorbed into the surface. The Restaurator would still remove scratches and add shine, but it wouldn't be absorbed. It would stay on the surface. It's another magic paint product that contains carnauba and beeswax. In this case, the oil is perfect and I'll show you how to use it. As always, use a brush and not a cloth because a cloth will only lead you to waste product. I take just a tiny bit, really just a little, of product from my little cup, just a small amount, and I drain off the excess. And then, watch how I apply it carefully. I spread it out, but above all, the most important thing is that I mustn't waste any product. It should be spread very thinly. You mustn't waste any product. You need to apply it everywhere, even using different motions, and you have to make sure you've covered the entire surface. So there are two options. We can either drain the brush again and try to remove a bit of the excess so as not to waste any product, but even here I use my cloth before it dries and still remove the excess. What you get, of course, is a very glossy surface, but what matters to us is what we achieve afterwards. That is, a surface that doesn't feel greasy at all to the touch because the excess oil is dried. And above all, this incredible shine that lasts over time. I'll show you the twin because this piece of furniture has two drawers and just look at the difference. I assure you that tomorrow, when 24 hours have passed and it is completely dried, you'll probably notice it even more. It will be even shinier. Elisa, but what should I do if I want to paint a piece of furniture that I've previously treated with oil or wax? Inizdirada. If you want to paint, you always need to do ABBA, remember that. This box is a real showstopper. I already know it's going to turn out beautifully, but I also know it will soak up more product than the others. Please, always remember this. But how do you do it? You should always use just a little, because if you put on too much, it won't dry. The result we see now, after applying the oil, will basically stay the same. This will be the result, even once it's dried. It will keep its shine, hydrate it, and make it truly beautiful, with all its old marks from the passing of time. Here, for example, there's a burn mark, some scrapes, but it's fair to say that this is exactly where its charm lies. So now I've spread the oil everywhere. As you can see, I've put on a bit more, but still very little because I don't want to waste any product or risk it not drying properly. So I take my cloth, the nice flat side, and wipe off some of the excess, because if it's too greasy, it won't dry. Look at Emma and look at my part. How lovely they are together. Here, as I mentioned before, I apply it to the various leather components. Remember, use a crisscross brushstroke, a circular brushstroke, whichever you prefer. The important thing is to work the oil in deeply wherever you apply it. Because if you just do it superficially, then wipe it with the cloth, you'll remove everything. The inside is unfinished, so I apply oil inside as well. It's time for the chair. So what's the difference if it's already raw? It's raw, but not completely. Why is that? Because even though we've used ammonia and water and removed a lot of the wax, in some areas, since we didn't scrub hard enough, there'll still be some traces of wax left. And above all, it's a chair made from much finer, much smoother, much more refined wood compared to our crate, which is made from rough wood. That wood was probably sawn into planks, assembled, stamped, and then simply used as it was. Here it's been sanded down and up. So we're working with a wood that's much smoother, velvety, and above all, already have its own finish. Here, it's absolutely crucial, really crucial, that the oil is applied in a very, very thin layer. Remember, I'm not insisting for the sake of it, but firstly, you'll save money, and secondly, look at how well it goes on. You don't have to struggle, because it's not as thick as oil. It's creamy, but it spreads on thinly. If you allow the material to absorb properly, I assure you that applying it thinly will be perfect. So what do I do now? I spread the oil thoroughly everywhere, leave it for an hour or two, and then wait for the wood to absorb all the oil it needs. And the chair, with its Vienna straw and everything else, will have all the time it needs to dry properly within 24 hours. After about 1 hour, and up here I have the fans so it dries much faster, I go over it with a cloth to remove any excess. The chair's finished as well. Now for the last piece, the shutter, which is one of the most requested. Shutters are among the most requested items when using jasmine oil. As you know, when they get completely ruined, you have to scrape them to bring them back to their original glory, and it's an absolute slog. We end up spending the summer with a special sanga. If we don't want to get to that stage, we've got two options. One, use jasmine oil on all types of shutters, even those made of aluminium, stainless steel, all of them. These ones, which have also been painted, are very durable, but painted with a paint. Why? Because jasmine oil, even on these materials that aren't wood, helps protect the shine and the existing paint, stopping it from fading or losing its colour. This way, the paint stays beautiful and doesn't get damaged or worn out. How do you do it? You wash it, as we've just done, and you do this process once, or better yet, twice a year. When? At the change of seasons, March and autumn. Even better, though, if you do this process after you've actually painted the shutters. Now let's start with these, which belong to Emma, and she's taken it down so we can make this lovely tutorial. The catch when you're doing doors or shutters is that you've got two sides. So what then? So you either have to get creative and do them while they're up, but if you can't, like Emma in this case, who has them directly on the facade and can't work on them there, you have to take them down. You'll need to find a way to keep them upright if you want to do both sides straight away. The same goes here as with marble. On all materials where the oil isn't absorbed, so here as well, as you can see, the oil isn't absorbed, is it? Because the material is very smooth, very shiny. You really have to apply it very, very thinly. As you can see, I haven't taken any more oil. I'm still using what's here, where there's a bit extra, and I keep going. I've done practically the whole shutter using jasmine oil only twice. It needs to be applied thinly, so please always carefully consider the quality and coverage of the products before saying they're expensive. Let's repeat together. Does this material absorb or not? No. So you really need very little. Even though we've already used very little, we want to make sure it dries and doesn't stay greasy. So with a little cloth, I'll still remove a bit of the excess, but without overdoing it. Just a quick wipe. Well, the change is fantastic. On this side and also on the other. Good morning, friends of... This gag has been suggested by Clarissa. Let's give credit and honour to Clarissa. No, we've put everything back as it was this morning. That's not true. 3 hours ago. 3 hours ago, because we wanted to show you the result. You can see the before and after. The marble's transformed just from washing it. The drawer's beautiful, the chair's revived, and the champagne crate is gorgeous. I thought about selling it, but I'll keep it for Stefano. And you can take the shutter back home with you.
Thank you.
We want footage of the before and after. Meaning you go home, show the shot you've done, the shot you haven't done yet, and we'll do later. And you show them to us.
Absolutely.
Where can't people find magic paint, and where can they find magic paint?
So they can find it on the website magicpaint.it, where they'll also find all the Italian retailers who sell it.
If I it up.
By region on a handy map where they can enter their town and see who's nearby, because it's not always in the same province or region.
Exactly. You could be right on the border between one region and another. And then?
And then you won't find it on Amazon or in the big DIY chains.
Like Leroy Merlin, don't bother. If they say it's the same, it isn't. Magic paint is magic paint with the brush stroke. Shall we say goodbye? Not every video is full of endless pleasantries and chit-chat. Sometimes there are useful videos too. Like how it is today. Goodbye.
Goodbye.